Hey you, your 25-year-old self. I'm gonna give you an example of what it would have been like if you would start your real estate career purchases at 25 years old. Whether you're your 35-year-old self right now, your 40-year-old self, your retirement age, knowledge you could pass down to your children or grandchildren, or if it's somebody just getting out of college. I want to speak to you and give you an example of what your life could look like if you would have just bought your very first house at a $250,000 price point in 2020 with these interest rates, and how it could shape your future and how it could set you up with a sense of safety, an opportunity to invest and to retire in comfort. Myself, I grew up in I would consider a middle class to lower middle class, looking back, childhood. So I've always thought about ways to be financially stable and make more money. And the vehicle that has worked for me has been real estate, for my career and for my investment, and what I'm able now to share as a broker to help you build wealth. What do you want to leave that money if you don't have kids and you want to leave it to a charity? If you have nieces and nephews, if you have sons or daughters, grandchildren eventually, you want to be able to leave an education and leave money, because as I said in other posts, it takes money to make money, and you have to have that money make money for you. And when you do that, you won't have to work as hard or maybe at all. So let's run some numbers, guys. Say you bought a house right now, your 25-year-old self. This is the mindset we're going on. With these interest rates around 3%, under 3 in some cases. 25 years old, you're out of college, but again, you're preparing for buying this house at 25 years old. Save for your down payment. Made that a priority over traveling overseas in Europe. And good news right now, guys, if there's one good thing that's coming out of this pandemic, it's given us a chance to slow down, to realize, whether it be clothing because we're working from home, whether it be our limitations in travel, of how much money we waste and how much money we could have saved if we just made time and priorities for things that are going to make us money. So you buy a $250,000 house. It's probably going to cost you right now, with property taxes, homeowners insurance, your interest, around $1,450 a month. Not bad. I mean, at 25 years old, depending on what part of Atlanta you're living in, maybe you have a roommate, maybe you rent out one of the rooms in the house. Maybe you're you're making pretty good money out of college. That's what, hopefully those college loans, is giving you a good salary. $1,450 a month. Probably, like I said, gonna be able to afford you a 2, 3, 4 bedroom house. $1,450 a month. Now say you went into a routine where you said, every 5 years, I'm going to buy another house. Let's just be very basic with the math and say, on average, your house appreciates about 2% a year. Or just say on average, $5,000 a year. Pretty safe, pretty much taking into considerations the ebbs and flows of a market, just like the stock market, the real estate market. However, we're selling real estate where we're living. Atlanta is one of the fastest growing cities in the country, which means people are moving here year after year after year after year. When you have more people moving here than housing available, it's gonna increase the price of rent. It's gonna increase the price of real estate, right? You wanna be in that power position. You want to be eventually that landlord. You want to be the homeowner, right? So let's say in a 5-year period, that's $25,000 worth of value that has gone up on that piece of land and that home. Let's look at some scenarios what would happen in that situation. I went through a website, and you can too, and I've talked about in other videos, called mortgagecalculator.org. Play around with the numbers. It has one feature on that website called the amortization, easy for me to say, table. And that basically is a table that's going to show over the years how much you would have paid down that mortgage, what the principal would be. So 5 years later, from 2020 to 2025, it estimates that your principal will be down to $213,657. The value of that house would be $275. Subtract those two numbers. 5 years, by not paying rent, by taking out a mortgage, by owning something, by borrowing money, you will have equity of $61,343. That, for a lot of people, is a year's salary. For some people, it could be 2 years' salary. Now, what do you do at that point? If you were to rent out that home and make it your first investment property, you are now the landlord. Maybe you rent it out for $1,800. That's a $350 profit each month. That equates to $4,200 a year. What if you sold it and used some of that money to buy your next house at 30 years old? So 25 years old, 30 years old, 35 years old, 5 years later, you sell it. That just put a standard real estate commission of 6%. Might go a little less if you go with us again. Let's say that's $16,500. You will walk away with $44,843. Again, this is in the conservative estimate. Your house only going up $5,000 a year, which is still pretty good. So at the end of it, you either have $61,000 in equity, you decide to rent it out, making money on the rental side. The person that's paying you that $1,800, $1,450 of it is going towards paying more down on that principal, which means more equity if you sold it at the 10-year mark, at the 15-year mark, at the 20-year mark. So two scenarios: $350 a month profit with commissions selling it, $44,843. If you just average that profit and you did the same scenario, your next house maybe is $300, the next house is $350, or you always kept it around that $250. Just doing the math, every 5 years, from 25 years old, by the time you were 40 years old, if you just recreated that very conservative estimate, you have about $123,000 of profit if you had sold at a $44,843 profit over 3 cycles, so 15 years. What if you decided to hold on to those properties and have the tenant continue to pay down your principal? You're probably looking at $200,000, $300,000 profit in the same time period. What if you did that in combination over every 5 years until you're approaching retirement age? So the average retirement age is probably about 65 years old. And then you're starting to think about Social Security and your 401k building up and all those type of things. Took that scenario, $44,843 profit, 65 years. So about every 8 years, you buy and sell a house, and you average a profit after commission of about that $45,000. $358,744 in the bank, heading into retirement. In addition to over 40 years in the workforce, God help you, I hope you're saving money, right? I hope you're contributing to your 401k, your traditional IRA, your Roth IRA, if you're self-employed, your SEP IRA or your SEP 401k. Very conservatively over the life, if you're in a company match, if you've been socking money away for tax advantage purposes, that you retire with $650,000 in your retirement account. Very conservative, very, very conservative. 650 plus 358, 744. You're retiring a millionaire on the most conservative real estate platform and calculation that you can do. You are retiring a millionaire. Top of that, if Social Security was no longer around, I think that you could make that $1 million if you just went through it all and you never made money off of a dividend, interest-bearing account, investing it at all. You could live another 20 years with $50,437. Chances are, though, guys, there's going to be some form of that money making money for you. You're not going to just go through $1 million in 20 years. And if you live to 30 years, right? You're going to have help. You're going to have Medicare, Medicaid. You're going to have, hopefully, Social Security. And let's just say at around the time you retire, your Social Security averages $2,500 a month. Fair, conservative, inflation, all that kind of stuff. Again, listen, I know all these terms because I read a lot. I didn't go to business school. I didn't go to Harvard or anything like that. I just read articles. I am in real estate. I'm good with math. $2,500 a month, Social Security. That equates to $30,000 a year. $30,000 a year. So again, in the worst case scenario, for the next 20 years of your life, if there was Social Security and the money you saved, $80,437 a year living in retirement. That's if you didn't do other things throughout your life in those 40 years. Invest in more property. Buy land. Start a business. Find another passion. Are you good at painting? Are you a handyman? Do you enjoy driving and meeting people? Are you an Uber or Lyft driver? Do you like waiting tables? Do you like starting your own restaurant? This is the conservative of just working 40 years in a regular middle class to upper middle class job. Just paying your bills on time, having good credit, being disciplined. Not sacrificing, not never going out for dinner, not never buying a piece of clothing. This is conservative estimate, guys. Walking into retirement very conservatively with real estate profits approaching 360 on the lowest end that I think would be possible. What if you rented for those 40 years? What if you continued to rack up credit card debt? What if you continued to overextend yourself? But what if you made a decision at 25 years old to start that journey? Where would your life be today? Or what could it be if you're under 25 right now? I leave you with that question. Make it a great day.